And now, here in America, we have been put in a very precarious situation. No one really knows what is happening. Really, I don't even know. But for me, I'm 73. You know what my theory is? For me, I don't know. I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm on my own journey. I came here naked. I'm leaving naked. No one is coming with me, and no baggage is allowed.
Welcome back to Answers of, or not Answers of Life anymore, Soul Purpose. The Soul Purpose. And we have Shanka Prabhu back. We have done one with him that has not been put out yet. I don't know what order we'll end up releasing these in, but it's Memorial Day weekend, so he's a veteran. And we wanted to kind of focus this episode on Memorial Day, his experience as a veteran, talking about things that would be helpful and impactful to talk about for veterans and just other people that maybe have veterans in their family, and just kind of make it related to that. So today we're not going to pick up where we left off with that one, where we are going to start into some Memorial Day stuff. Yeah. And I'll let you guys kind of steer it from there.
Again, thank you for your time and coming to share your wisdom with us before you leave the mortal realm. And
yeah, I don't know if you wanted to put that out there, but I guess just in case we didn't, I don't know when we're releasing it, because you are having some health, you're nearing the end there as far as like.
Okay, so all right, everybody. Now I've taken the podium.
You're taking the podium.
I'm ready to talk. Right now, here we go. Okay, first off, I joined.
I just want to say one thing, just as a little intro.
Absolutely.
In regards to Veterans Day weekend, just before we get into it.
Because you're also a veteran, so.
Yeah, Army. So yeah, Memorial Day weekend is like normally a pretty tough time of year. I mean, for me, for all the veterans, all their families and friends, it's like a sobering time of year. And, the struggles that so many veterans go through every day, most people really are not aware, or at least aware in the way that they necessarily should be, because, even if they're, the physical outward struggles aside, the internal struggles that the veterans go through is, oftentimes really debilitating. The rates of suicide and homelessness, drug abuse, PTSD, it's really, the time that they're at war is hard, but then they come back and they're changed for the rest of their life. And I just feel that, Shanka Prabhu, as a three-time Vietnam veteran, 3-tour, you've been through a lot of stuff, and you were you had the Agent Orange, health complications going on, and now you are suffering through the the result of the carelessness kind of that's been sent towards veterans. But rather than kind of dwelling in that negative space, I think it's important to hear from people like you on the positive things that you've learned, specifically for you spiritually, and like from Srila Prabhupada. How have those things helped you make it this long without, committing suicide, or, I see someone like you, it's really inspiring because it shows that it's possible to survive those things and make your way through life.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also like. So I think that's what you're saying. But just to clarify the question, I think something that'd be really cool to talk about, which is probably already in your game plan, but to discuss how the experiences you had as a young person, as a veteran specifically, going into where you are now, how did those experiences maybe even end up help you in some way, guide you towards spirituality? Despite the difficulties or the challenges, how did that kind of help? What did you get from it that was a positive thing?
Okay. And also we want to hear
whatever
the struggles that you've gone through, not just spiritually, but also what we need to hear.
Okay.
So the other veterans out there can they can benefit from it.
So I can get really wild, but I'm not. I'm going to be very cool about all of this. Okay. First off, I joined the Army in 1966, June 20th, with the expectation of doing harm to my papa, who didn't treat me very well. And they found I had these very unique powers, stereo vision, photogenic mind, psychic powers. So rather than going into the infantry and coming back doing the thing that I wanted to do by killing again, I decided to go into the military intelligence world, and as a result of that, I spent 3 tours in Vietnam. Now, I will tell you that I wasn't out there in the front lines in the battlefield shooting people directly and watching my friend blow up in 1,000 pieces. I was in the war room orchestrating the battles, and you cannot even understand the guilt that I had to go through, because I'm the one that was finding targets in Vietnam for you to go out there as LRPs or long range patrol Marines or some kind of platoon or some kind of squad. You go out there and all it winds up is that you become a POW or MIA, or they propagandally portray you in some horrible way, as some kind of psychological trauma that caused the GI. So, I've been there in that respect, and I know I've tried, in 1984 I broke down, I had PTSD like you wouldn't believe. They misdiagnosed me. First off, this is my country I served, I'm unaware of what's going on, I'm just thinking I did this thing, I served my country, everything is going fine and dandy. And then I come down with PTSD, and then they give me these tests and they reject me. Service connection disability for PTSD, and then they gave me a false diagnosis telling me that I had chronic paranoia, chronic schizophrenia, chronic panic disorder, and chronic PTSD.
And so initially they weren't paying you any service connection.
So they didn't give me any service connection disability, and I had to, from 1984 until the 90s, I had to live off Social Security or SSI. And then in the 90s, I took all their psychological tests, and again, they gave me the same diagnosis. And just look at this, after I found out that they lied, all my real diagnosis is that I have chronic major depression, anxiety, and chronic PTSD, and that's the extent of my mental prognosis. That is all it is. I never had schizophrenia. I never had panic disorders or paranoia, and it's gotten written down black and white from a psychiatrist who wasn't even connected to the VA. I had to go outside the VA to find out all this stuff, So, I'm there with you guys, and then I know you all having troubles with your psychiatrist and your psychologist and your counselor. And why is that? It's very simple. They weren't in the battlefield. So how can a psychiatrist who's trained from a book and from what he interacts like that, how can he help you the PTSD, which is a reality to you, because I know I have it. And I know what the reality of PTSD and how horrible it can become, and how it can destroy your consciousness and drive you into madness and make you into an alcoholic. I've been there too. I've been an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic, but I haven't touched alcohol since I became a hard Christian. So we're gonna get into that. But anyway, this is let you vets know that I've been there, I've done that. I've been involved in 13 major battles in Vietnam. So I've been there. So, but this Memorial Day, all you people out there who are listening, you know, I'm gonna, that the French I'm not gonna use, but when I came back from Vietnam, you did everything you could to make my life miserable. So, for that, I cannot, I forgive you all. I just forgive you all. I just giving love and compassion now in my life. There's no need to judge you or recommend you or to get involved in your, whatever you're doing or whatever you've done. You know, there's no point in me getting involved with that anymore, so.
Wow.
I said my thing now to all you vets, so now, you know, all you people, please, I know the pandemic's there, but at least pat a vet in the back, you know. When you see the vets on the sidewalk, you know, give them a couple of bucks, you know. I do. I give a vet, but I am very choosy because I was also involved in heavy drugs and crack and those things, and I can safely say I'm very careful who I give my donation to or who I try to help. But the vets, you know, it's really sad here in Gainesville. I see it, you know, 80%.
So
I think it's more like 80% of the homeless people in Gainesville are veterans from Afghanistan, from Kuwait, and there's even a few Vietnam veterans floating out there, old timers, you know.
Yeah, I was telling you, I took one the other day. I saw him on the side of the road, and he'd been discharged from the hospital. No shoes, just a box of the medications they gave him. He's like 70 plus years old. It's hot as shit. I'm driving, and I was like, get in the car, dude. You know, where are you going? I took him, I got him a cup of coffee, and I had my old slippers, and I gave it to him, and I dropped him off. He wanted me to take him over to, you know, down to by Grace Market.
Tent City or whatever.
Well, it's like it's a place that they have to kind of rehab people going through the system that are homeless. But
Gotcha.
it's like one of those places. I mean, dude, you drive through there, it's like, no wonder it's tucked on the backside of town. It's like such a shame, and a lot of the guys sitting out there and ladies in the grass are people that I see coming through the VA. And, you know, it frustrated me, like I told you, and you know, like, it's Memorial Day weekend, and there's, you know, homeless veterans struggling with the mental health and the stuff. So I think it's so important that, you know, we just try to raise awareness to that, and like you said, love and
compassion. You know. Anyways, folks, I'm sad to say that now the Vietnam veterans, most of them are now coming down with all kinds of cancers and all kinds of things related to Agent Orange exposure and asbestos exposure. And I've been exposed to both. So I have already had a bout of cancer way back in 2015. They got rid of it with 45 radiation treatments and hormone therapy. The VA was kind enough to pay for that. So I got rid of the cancer, but like my urologist said, some of the cancer cells are outside of the target area and unnoticed for 5 years, then metastasized to where now I have bone cancer, I have lesions and nodules on my abdomen which are giving me pain now. I have metastasizing prostate cancer, and now it looks like I have very fast moving lung cancer. associated with exposure to asbestos because I looked at the CAT scan, and right in the CAT scan, right on the edge of this lung, are little patches of asbestos.
Mm-hmm, the little
And then there's lesions inside my lungs, so what else can you say?
Yeah.
I've got cancer in my lungs, so...
All the old barracks buildings that they built back
Everything.
then, they all were
everything,
insulated with
everything is
asbestos.
asbestos and
Jesus
Agent
Christ.
Orange stuff they use in Nam, and then who
Yeah.
knows what they used in Afghanistan and Kuwait when that was going
Oh
on.
yeah, the oil fields burning.
All the oil
Yeah.
fields, but what kind of stuff did they release then? And all kinds of... Anyways, you know, treat a vet nicely tomorrow, please, or as you watching this, just treat
Yeah.
the vet kindly. Give a little love and compassion for it, because I'm going to tell you straight up, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be getting a stimulus. You wouldn't have a president giving you some kind of loving compassion.
Mm.
You would be getting some kind of communistic or some kind of other kind of demoniac type of person or group or organization manipulating and controlling you.
Worse than what we have
Worse
now.
than what you have now. So, you know, without the vets doing what we did, because we did it, you know, you have to understand, we put our lives on the line, and I'm speaking for all of us, because we're all brothers. We're the band of brothers that they talk about, the movie. We're the band of brothers, all us soldiers, you know. It doesn't matter what war you're in, we're all brothers, because no one can understand, no one can relate to us. No, everybody thinks that we're so crazy and we're disturbed and we don't know what we're doing, you know, but we're so intelligent. We're so intelligent because we've looked at death right in the face, and we were participating in its demise. We were doing it. We were killing. For you to get your stimulus, for you to get your Social Security system, for you to get your so-called Obamacare medical system, whatever they give you, whatever it is, you know, it's such a token, minute little thing. And then when you look at the rest of the world, look at the rest of the world. There's no no bad infrastructure in Sweden. You know, everybody gets from the free hospitals, free this, free that, and they get money, and the whole society is running, and even though it's demoniac in Sweden because of some of the things they do, but the whole Barnashram system, which I'm about to get into, is almost enacted over there in Europe, and in different parts of Europe. I've been there, I know. So like that, you know, these things are going on, and now here in America, you know, we have been put in a very precarious situation. No one really knows what is happening. Really, I don't even know. But you know, for me, I'm 73. You know what my theory is? For me, I don't know. I don't care. Leave me alone. I'm on my own journey. I came here naked. I'm leaving naked. No one is coming with me, and no baggage is allowed. So, with that in mind, let us get to how I became a Hare Krishna devotee and changed my whole life, and how I was able to turn around chronic PTSD and all these traumas that we're experiencing, how I, through having faith and connection with the Lord, and that is the only way that I've been able to do that. And so now I will tell you how I became a devotee. It's an interesting story. You already know I did 3 tours in Vietnam. I came back. I got a job as a laboratory technician, metallurgical analyst.
You're forgetting the 3.5 kilograms of Vietnamese
Oh yeah,
hash.
okay.
But yeah, that's in the other video. But
no,
don't gloss over that.
No, anyways, okay. Let's get to the whole thing of my America. No, this is irrelevant because this is when I came back from Vietnam. This is what I had to go through when I came back from Vietnam. Let me tell you this quick story. Okay, When I was in Vietnam, I got discharged. I had to sign papers allowing them to do any kind of surveillance on me because I was in secret intelligence work, and I signed contracts to shoot me if I said anything. All kind of, I all garbage. Anyways, when I came back to Worcester, Massachusetts, they gave me a job at NUCO, New England Hot Wiring Company, and I was doing laboratory technician work. So, before this all happened, while I was in Vietnam, I had 3 kilos of the finest Vietnamese weed, cut with the finest heroin, and plus whatever the U.S. government military intelligence world put their little gizmo chemicals in there also. So I wanted to smuggle it home. So my friend Elliot Abelson, who's still alive out there, Elliot Abelson, he had a whole box full of Kool-Aid packets. So what we did is I just took each Kool-Aid packet, we did it together, and we packed those Kool-Aid packets, and we got all 3 kilos in 150 or 200 Kool-Aid packets, and we had them all laid out there. So immediately I went to the PX. I had a lot of money, so I bought all the latest stereo equipment. Everything, tuner amplifiers, reel-to-reel tape recorders, everything. I bought boxes and boxes and boxes of things, and then I brought them all to where we were living on the economy. And of course, we weren't supposed to live on the economy in Vietnam, but we were. Anyways, we started opening up all the equipment, and we started stuffing 15, 20 packets of Kool-Aid packets in each one of the stereo equipment. We sealed them all back up. We boxed them up. I addressed them to my uncle in Worcester, Massachusetts. So I got discharged. I sent them off till I got discharged. I landed in Oakland after I got discharged. So this is how funny it was. First off, they gave me my discharge papers with the wrong. They changed my RA number from a 9 to a 6 or something, and they changed it. And I didn't even want to bother with it, so I just left. So they changed my ID so no one could know anything about me at all, because now I got a new RA number on my DD214, which isn't my real RA number. Anyways, I got there to San Francisco after Oakland, and it was horrible. Here I am. I've been 3 tours in Vietnam, engaged in all kinds of activity with women, engaged in all kinds of activity in the war, and alcohol and drugs, I'm involved in all these things, and, it's hard, to even speak about it, but I had to go and deal with all that stuff anyway. So here I am walking around for a whole day in San Francisco, afraid to talk to anybody because I don't know how to talk to anybody. I just came from 2 years in Vietnam. I have no idea how, and I learned everything there. So I have no idea how to talk to people, how to relate, you know what it's like for a soldier being in the war to come back and all of a sudden you can't talk to people, you don't know how to relate, you don't know how to hug somebody, you're afraid, you're scared, I know it all, I went through it all. So anyways, I took a bus to Worcester, Massachusetts and prayed. And this is when I first came in contact with Jesus.
You're good.
I was, got back to Worcester, Massachusetts, I got to my uncle's house, and I said, if there's a Jesus, if there's a God, if it's all really a reality, and all my 3 kilos of marijuana will be there in my room. So I went into the room, greeted my uncle, and he says, you got some packages in your room. I said, well, this is going to be very interesting. So I immediately went into the room and I took the tuner amplifier. I took out the box, ripped the box. I tore it apart in great anticipation. I took the screwdriver and I unscrewed the whole thing, and then I lifted off the lid. And what do you think I saw when I lifted off the lid? 15 or 20 packets of Kool-Aid. And I said, holy cow, now how am I going to communicate with someone? So this is the only way I can communicate. But I don't know how to talk to anybody now. I have no idea how to have a relationship or anything. So I never had it. So here I am now with just 3 kilos of weed. So I rolled up 3 very thin joints. I know it's very powerful. And I went across the street to the university. This university was Clark University. This university was where the kids learn how to become psychiatrists and psychologists. The people who are giving you the hard time. This is a school where they were learning. And I happened to be there. Okay, so I walked into the center of the university in the evening with 3 joints and a lighter, and I sat underneath the flagpole. Now, I'm trying, before I tell you about the joint smoking, you got a synopsis now. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I just come back. I can't relate to people. I'm involved with New England witches because they think I'm a warlock, and so I'm involved with that. And then, so now the story. Here I am sitting at the flagpole. I'm just waiting, and then all of a sudden, 2 boys and a girl come walking my way. And as soon as I got near the flagpole, I said, hey, have you guys ever smoked Vietnamese weed? And they said no. I said, well, I just got back from Vietnam, and it just so happens I have a few joints here. Would you like to smoke one? And they said, oh, okay. So they came over. And this is no fault, this is no exaggeration. You can ask any Vietnam vet. Okay, I lit up this joint and I took a hit, I didn't, you know how it hits me, So I gave each of them a hit, and this is no exaggeration. They were on their backs, just totally stoned out of their brains. And then the next thing you know, I had 15 or 20 college students all around me, and we smoked those, and they broke out their hash and their grass. And then guess what? They broke out their music, and it just so happened that this whole group of kids were Deadheads, and of course they were playing the Grateful Dead, and I became a Deadhead. Okay, that's how I became a Deadhead. And there was also a band connected with that, Cat's Cradle. That's another story, okay? They want me to sing in that. Anyway, so now you got a synopsis of where I'm at. Knock, knock on my door. I open it, and there's my brother, my younger brother. He was a Marine. He was in Okinawa. He never seen combat. It was in war. Anyways, he went to Okinawa. So he's standing there. He had a shaved head. He had a book under his arm. And he said, whoa, I can't come inside, my brother, and I can't give you an embrace. There's too much evil in your room. And I had a refrigerator full of carcass, all kinds of things, chickens, pigs. I was a connoisseur. I was a carnivorous. I just ate it. Yeah. Anyway, so he said, in the early days, there was an Ishopanishad, Prabhupada's first Ishopanishad, and there was a picture of Lord Vishnu on the causal ocean, halfway up, in a reddish type garments with his 4 arms. And he pulled out 4 inserts that were inserted in the book. He had gave me 4 of the pictures, and he said, I want you to put one on each wall in your room. So I did that. And then he said, now, I'm going to ask you a question. And he said, how would you like to go on a mystical journey to the spiritual world and see Yogeshvara, the supreme mystic? Immediately, as soon as I heard Yogeshvara, everything, my whole life, everything that existed, everything that was giving me problems and trauma just went away, vanished, disappeared, gone. Just by hearing the name of God that I connected with. Everybody has your own connection with God in your own way. Was my connection. Anyway, to go on with the story. So, I said, yes, I would like to. So then he gave me Prabhupada's Krishna book, the first Krishna book. This is December 1970 in Worcester, Massachusetts, in the middle of winter. Okay, here we go. So that evening, I waited for the proper moment, so I lit some candles, and I got rid of all the carcasses and meat and everything in my house. I threw it all out so everything was clean. I sterilized everything. Of course, I kept all my little jars of marijuana and hashish. I had 15, 20 different kinds on a shelf, different
Connoisseur.
kinds. I was a connoisseur. Anyways, I had my weed, of course I had my Vietnam weed. Anyway, so I waited, and I sat in the middle of my room. And I had the music, I had some really soft ocean music going, and I had some flute music going, because I had all the stereo equipment, so I had all these sounds and everything going really beautifully. And then I was sitting there in the middle of the room, in this left hand, I had the Krishna book, and in this hand I had 3 trips of orange sunshine LSD. And here I am sitting in my room in a very beautiful, calm, peaceful atmosphere. And because I'm a drug addict, because I'm an alcoholic and a sex monger and crazy guy, I took the 3 trips of LSD, and then I opened up Prabhupada's Krishna book and started to read George Harrison's introduction. I read the first paragraph. I did. I read it really good. I remember I read it, and then after it got to the second, it started moving around, blurry, and I said, holy cow, I can't read this. So I said, well, and then this is when, I don't know how many first generation devotees, second generation devotees, or even third generation devotees, I don't know how, or any of these have ever experienced this, but I experienced, you know what a fog is? You know what a fog is, right?
Like brain fog.
A very fine mist of fog, right? One of those, I had an mystical experience with Yogeshvara, because as soon as I flipped the Krishna book to the first painting, all of a sudden I looked at it, and the acid was all over me, and all of a sudden every character, every living entity, grass, trees, everything came out and filled the room. And then there they were, the demigods, Shiva, Brahma, Indra, pastimes going on all around me in living color and sound, and they're sitting there absorbed, and every page I flipped, the same thing happened, everything came out, and some kind of pastime went on, some activity was going on with Krishna, and all these demigods and demons and all kinds of things. This went on for 8 hours straight without stopping. 8 hours that went straight up, 8, 9 hours. So then maybe, I would say maybe a week later, knock, knock, knock on my door. There's my brother. And this time he comes in and says, I can embrace you. What has happened? He came in and said, what has happened? I feel this beauty. I feel this love. I feel this energy. What happened? So I told him what happened. Then he said, oh my Lord, you now must perform penance and austerity, because you have just tasted a mystical taste of Yogeshvara. So what austerity was, we were going to hitchhike from Worcester, Massachusetts in the middle of winter, December, all the way up to the Canadian border and back. Hitchhiking. Okay, this is our austerity and penance. You guys think we're really crazy, don't you? Anyways, we packed up rice cakes and all kinds of things, and we merrily went on our way hitchhiking up to Canada in the middle of winter. And we would stop off at churches at the end of the day, and we would go in there and sleep on the pews, because the churches weren't locked in those days, This is 1970.
Yeah.
So there we go. So then we made maybe mid-New Hampshire.
You can grab that and put that in your pocket, maybe your breast pocket.
Yeah, we made halfway to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And as we were getting onto the freeway entrance, all of a sudden, a state trooper pulls up behind us. And he gets out of his car all bundled up, and he walks over to us, and he said, "Boys, excuse the French, I'm not going to say the French," he said, "Boys, what the F are you doing hitchhiking up here in the middle of winter, 20 below zero? You guys crazy or something?" So I told him our story, excluding the acid thing. And said we're on a mission of God, Jesus, where Jesus is giving me the light and the inspiration to go on this journey. So the cop got mesmerized, and I guess Krishna spoke to him and he said, "Well, boys, I can't arrest you, but get the F home." So we hitchhiked back, and then the first week of January 1971, my brother and me got a bus from Worcester, Massachusetts, and we went to the Boston Commonwealth Avenue Temple. We walked in and became devotees of Krishna. And at that same time, I gave up everything: meat eating, smoking, intoxications of every kind. I gave up gambling. I gave up the four regs you put on it. I gave it all up.
So why did you give it up?
Because that was what the Hare Krishna movement was all about, and we were told that these are the simple pillars of the material world, and I had to accept it because I was living these 4 pillars of the material world.
So the idea behind the regulative principles, and for anyone listening, so they are no eating meat,
fish or eggs,
no eating meat, fish or eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex,
and
or
no
sex
gambling.
outside of marriage, or
Right.
no gambling.
And
And the idea is that by abstaining from doing these things, you gradually begin, while also chanting and dedicating your life, chanting the names of God and dedicating your life in service to others, combined with cleaning up your life. It's no different than really, like going to the 12-step program, right?
Yeah.
It's a purification
process. You cleanse your state of consciousness, which then helps you transcend, the anxieties and the depressions and the other things of your life. That's the philosophy behind.
A follow-up question on that then. So the reason I'm asking that is for veterans who, did not have a connection instantly with the name Yogeshwar or whatever as of yet, to make it somewhat relatable. That's the reason I asked why.
Okay.
And then also, not only why, but do you think, and this is just me asking and the answer could be no, but do you think any of it had to do with the fact that maybe you'd been trying all of the things that they were asking you to abstain from and nothing had really brought you the happiness you were looking for?
Exactly.
And so you figured, try the other thing and see what happens for a little while?
That's basically what I did, and that's basically what happened. I did everything to the maximum that by the most professional and best of all the best of everything of the vices that you could think about.
Yeah.
But it didn't give me the happiness that I achieved when I walked into the Boston Temple.
Okay.
And now, to relate to that, we won't even mention Hare Krishna because people have feelings about that. So we'll speak on Jesus then.
Sure.
We'll use Jesus instead of Krishna now.
Jesus is always welcome at our table.
Because Jesus is also bona fide way to God. And all you vets really have to do, is follow the 6th commandment. I'm not going to preach anybody. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to push religion on you. But regardless of whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the earth, whether you believe in energy, whether you believe in goddesses, demigods, demons, whatever you believe, there is a whole purpose behind everything that's been happening. And we have to come to grips with our consciousness and focus on the good that is possible in this world. Because this world is not a good place. This is not a place for a gentleman. And I can attest now, folks, I got divorced in 1988 and I have been a gentleman ever since, and I'm proud to say that I am proud of that. I am a proud gentleman. I really am. I haven't kissed a girl since 1988. We'll go no further than that. So there you go. So, there are gentlemen in this world, and I am one, but I don't know how many more there are, but we're not welcome. And from what I found from my experience, gentlemen don't get it, and people who have been to war don't get the happiness that the material world can offer, because
You see the futility of it.
yeah, you see the futility of it, and you've seen things that and no one's helping. That's the problem. So when we get to a stage in our consciousness in life, like you're living in the streets, or having a really hard time in married life, communicating with your wife and children, flipping off, and the PTSD traumas and different things, it's all going on everywhere, all around the world. Not only just American vets, but all veterans. I'm talking about every veteran everywhere in the world. We're all in the same boat, whether you're a Russian veteran or a Chinese veteran, or you're in war, you're a veteran, and we're the ones that are putting, like I said, we're the ones putting our lives on the line, and then we come back and get treated like we were the scum of the earth, so please, tomorrow, take Jesus into your heart, all of you veterans tomorrow. Just take Jesus into your heart and pray and open up your hearts to Jesus with a hymn, a beautiful hymn or gospel. Just go to church. Just walk in there and grab a hymnal. Who cares what they say? Just grab one, open it up, and just start singing. If no one's in there, it doesn't matter. You're with the Lord. You don't need anybody to be with you. So there you are, and you sing your hymnal and your gospel, and you sing that beautiful song. And then you sit there and you pray to Jesus and you say, Jesus, I'm going to take a step towards you, because I know you're the way, the light, the salvation, and you will take me to the kingdom of God. It is guaranteed. May Jesus strike me dead if I'm speaking a falsehood. And by taking this small step, all of you, not just veterans, but all of you people, everybody, you just take a small step, because I know the hardest thing to give up is the glorification and satisfaction of the tongue, and that's eating. So we have to come to grips. Every religion, it doesn't matter what religion you are or what you believe, the most important commandment, the most important rule, the most important thing that we have to open up our hearts to, if we really want compassion, love, and forgiveness, is we have to stop eating everything that poops on this planet. And if you don't, well, it's been going on for such a long time, billions of animals slaughtered daily just to gratify your tongue, and it takes so much food to feed the animals to get a pound of flesh, and all that food you took to feed the cow, animal, you could have fed so many people. So this is a small step I'm asking you all to take. And the most important commandment is thou shalt not kill. That's in every religion. It's in every doctrine that's been printed by God. Everything. It's the only thing that you have to do to open up your heart. You don't need regimen. You don't need doing this and that. All you have to do is give up eating the things that poop on this planet, and it's easy to do. And so I'm telling all of you, take the small step. And the small step is you go in front of the Lord, whoever you chose, you sing your gospel hymn and prayer, and then you tell the Lord, I'm going to take a small step to you right now, and I am going to stop eating red meat for the rest of my existence in this creation. And besides that, it's not good for you anyways. Go to your biologist, go to the laboratory over there, talk to the doctor, they'll all tell you the same thing, it's no good for you anyway. So just make the small step to God, stop eating red meat, and then you're in God's hand. But you gotta pray to God when you're doing this, and you got to be sincere, and then you will be able to overcome your PTSD and your depression and your anxiety. You'll be able to overcome these things, because those are the only three things that bother a vet. It's not paranoia or schizophrenia. Those are
it's
all
the inner demons that you have
those
to
are
fight
just
every
other
day.
things. The real deal is that all us veterans are suffering from chronic PTSD, major depression and anxiety. That's all we have wrong with us. We're not bad fellows. We're not bad guys. We're reaching out. You know what it's like when you reach out to a loved one and all they do is keep punching you in the face every time you reach out? Can you understand me? Can you relate to me? Can you hear me? All I can see is just punches coming at me. So what kind of society, what kind of world do we live in? You know, you go up and you're trying to reach out, to give love, compassion, trying to figure things out and understand, have an intelligent conversation. And all you do is get kicked in the face. I've had it done to me so many times and so many occasions. And it saddens me the way everybody treats the vets. And everybody knows I'm a vet because I wear the hat, you know. And, you know, you think you're a badass, you know? Let's look at the hat. And when you look at that hat, you can see that that's a badass. You know, you have no idea. So please, tomorrow, hug a veteran. Give us some support, something. Gosh, we did so much for you. Now we'll end that. Now we're over that. We're over the tears. Now we're bouncing back to stories of how I met Srila Prabhupada.
If you don't
visit why we don't eat, why the no, and you said it's in every religion. Some Christians would argue that it doesn't relate to humans, it only relates, or sorry, animals, it only relates to humans, although, you know, the commandment could have been thou shalt not kill humans, or kill thy brother,
It
or
doesn't
thou shalt
matter.
not murder, if that was the intention.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't matter what they do. First off, who is King James? Okay, you tell me that one. Who's King James? The Emperor of the Roman Empire? You're telling me he doesn't have concubine? You're telling me he's not drinking goblets of wine and doing all kinds of crazy things? And now he's writing the Bible. What you follow as your Christian doctrine. So how do you know that God didn't tell you not to eat meat originally? Who really knows?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what is the reason we don't eat meat specifically? Scientifically,
first off, we don't have the teeth to chew properly meat. Secondly, we don't have enough hydrochloric acid in our digestive system to digest meat. Now this is the killer, and this is why you have hospitals. A meat-eating animal, a lion, a tiger, a dog, your cat, they eat flesh. They eat flesh. Their intestines, you can ask any biologist, go to UF.
Yeah.
Every biologist will tell you, yes, those animals' intestines are only 3 times the size of their body. Therefore, the meat goes in and out, bang and bang.
Yeah.
Now you look at the human anatomy, the human intestine is 15 times the size of your body. And this is what happens. That meat, fish, and eggs that you eat putrates and ferments as it's traveling through this football field long intestine, fermenting, putrating, causing cancer, causing diabetes. Everything that we're dealing with in this material world that's a disease simply comes from what you're eating.
Yeah, just
There's
a lot of
nothing, there's really nothing more to be said about it. There really isn't. So you can see scientifically, our bodies aren't meant for eating meat.
especially large quantities.
Large
that we
quantities that we do.
Just for sense gratification, not for survival. You know,
Yeah,
it's a
right.
big
So
difference.
now in a survival mode, you know, if I wasn't a monk, you know, I would eat in a survival mode. I would
Sure.
bend down and I
You
would
had nothing.
shoot a rabbit or something,
Right.
kill it and eat it. Raw, probably too. But
You're gonna go out on that thing.
And then the spiritual context of why, because there's the scientific reasons, but
okay,
then
so
what about
that's
the
the
spiritual?
scientific reason why I shouldn't. Then the spiritual reason is, you know, I mean, what is compassion? Okay. You know, we see so much about it all over the media. We see it all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Compassion. Black lives matter. All lives matter. White lives matter. Everybody's going ranting and raving about compassion. So what is compassion? What is compassion? Is compassion eating children of God? Is that considered?
Killing something and eating it.
I think the
Taste
point
is
is
not-
that they
So
also
they're,
have
they're
souls.
Yeah, they're
they
another.
have spirit souls.
They're another living being.
They are
and we
spirit
should,
souls. Yeah.
To have
Yeah.
true
I mean,
compassion would be feeling love. The love you feel inside, you should project that out onto all living things, not just only your flesh and blood. Because by not doing that, now you're propagating violence. Violence begets violence. So, and this is what I, you know, according to like the whole karma, you know, stuff from the Vedic scriptures or even the Bible, you reap what you sow. If we're committing all these violence on other living entities, the cows, the pigs, the chickens, getting slaughtered by the millions, if you reap what you sow and humankind is sowing violence towards other living beings, it's only natural that violence in turn is going to come back and we're going to reap the reward of that. So, you know, as long as we're continuing to kill and massacre other living beings, I don't see that we will ever be able to end
karmic
war.
reaction.
We're
You're
never
gonna
going to be able
continue.
to end strife and conflict.
Yeah.
Because how can you be kind and compassionate only to a human?
Well, it's not even just humans.
then-
people with their pets.
Well,
they love their pets.
Exactly,
They
the
won't.
pets, whatever.
But then they'll eat
you have to
know.
be able to. Actually, you know what? I had after we talked, I had a little yoga session I did for myself. Nothing crazy, but I was thinking about this. I was reflecting on like my attachment for the veteran community and how special they are to me, and you know, and so I thought I sent it to Nitai, but our ability to love others depends not on how they treat us, but rather in the way that we choose to view ourselves and them. So, you know, we all have to make the change and choose to project love out on others. If you're waiting and expecting for it to come to you before you give it out to them, you're missing out on so many opportunities.
Yeah.
If we all walked around projecting out first without expecting anything in return, then everyone, you know, like it really would. And, you know, you can be cynical and say, yeah, that's utopian. Well, you know, maybe it is. But with that kind of attitude, it always will be a utopian dream.
Yeah.
Everyone has to make the choice to make the change within and try to choose to see that I'm a spirit, I'm something not of this body. I should view all living entities with love and compassion.
Our society is fairly miserable based on the fact that we seek to please ourselves, to seek things to please our senses on a temporary basis, and I think the what I get from Krishna consciousness, which may not be exactly the same as what you get, but it has to do with the service. You know, you want to provide service to others, service to Krishna, service to people who are serving Krishna and others who serve Krishna.
Or Jesus.
And in that, or Jesus, or, you know, whoever it is, like you said, whatever it is you believe in, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And I think that makes a huge difference because, you know, when you try to enjoy, it almost always doesn't work out. You know, like you're trying, but when you try to please someone else, you always feel better. Anyway, it's already just a fact. Like, you know that's the truth. When you try to enjoy so much on your birthday and it doesn't go the way you wish it would, it's miserable. Yeah. Whereas if you go into somebody else's birthday and make their day the best, you had the best day ever. It's like, but we all still want to somehow selfishly enjoy. and then it just always causes problems.
And
yet,
even if your plan to serve someone else fails,
right.
if they see the effort you put into
they're
it,
still
it's
appreciative
still
generally.
appreciative.
I mean,
So,
and like you see it, people have the want to serve, even in the sense of like, even if they live alone and they don't serve somebody in a relationship, or they don't go to the temple or the church, whether they get a dog half the time or a cat, and then they're taking care of this dog cat. Like, we all have this like innate desire to serve, but yet we have this like kind of jarring want to get served. But then we also clearly want to serve, or else why would we do these things? Why would you get a responsibility if you don't want to serve somewhere?
Yeah, exactly.
And then continue back to your problem. I don't want to get too far. I just kind of wanted to get some of those things out.
Good point. And so you can see this, veterans, that what we're talking about, compassion, us veterans, we looked the enemy right in the eyes and we blew his brains out. And you're doing the same thing to these poor animals. You might not be right there, but have you ever been to a slaughterhouse in Denver? I have.
I've been in one before.
And Denver is notorious for having all kinds of slaughterhouses. And what you see is, if you went in one of those slaughterhouses and seen the pain, and you've seen what goes on there, you would definitely become a vegetarian. There's no question. But because we're naive, because mom and pop, you gotta eat this liver, it's good for you. You
become conditioned.
And you become conditioned to eating these things, and from my experience from eating flesh, it really doesn't have any taste at all. It's just the spices you put in it. That's all it really is, basically. So why are you crazy eating it, But, if everybody's in their world, So we don't judge the Hare Krishnas, at least for me, I don't. I don't judge nobody.
No.
But just to let you know, you're all in riding your own rodeo. And you're riding your own Bronco, and that Bronco is just material energy until you come to grips.
I think that is an important point that Hans and I have discussed before, that it's interesting sometimes you talk to, everybody has their judgments, but there can be a lot of judgment around people that eat meat from people that don't eat meat. And I think, at least for myself and Hans, like, I was born not eating meat. So I don't have any judgment. Like, it's easy for me. It was never something that, like, it wasn't like I was doing it and then to not eat meat was the weird thing, or like where people like didn't get it, or like my family, my mom was born not eating meat. My grandparents joined the movement. So like for me, it's just like, it's the way I existed. It was completely normal.
Yeah.
I didn't deal with meat. So like, it's very easy for me. I'm not going to feel better than you because you eat meat and I don't. When I was born, it was not a choice for me. That was always a thing. So I have no desire for it. So it's easy. Whereas the other ones maybe are a little harder because it's easier to be attracted to these other principles that can be broken.
This is why I say take the small step. Just stop eating red meat first.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to put it out there that there is no judgment from
there's no judgment from us. I'm telling you right now, go out and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken and enjoy your pigs and everything else and your luau's and enjoy it. Just stop eating the red meats, that's all. That's cool. So let's get back to Prabhupada again, now that we got this all cleared up about...
Yes, let's get back to the Prabhupada. And actually, before we get back to Prabhupada, since we're taking a quick break, let me restart the mic.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Here we are again, the three of us, again, ready to dive into a realm of new nectar. A new
Prabhupada.
Nectar. Now we're going to talk about Prabhupada, my beloved spiritual master, my preceptor and my savior, and the savior of all the second and third generation, and everybody who believes in God in whatever way they do. Okay, here we go. My first meeting, my first instruction. I guess after you already heard my story of how I became a devotee, I stayed in Boston for 3 months, and then me and my brother got my income tax check, and so we blooped and hitchhiked our way over to San Francisco, and then for 2 years we did a bloop. We did everything.
Yeah.
So then in January 1973, I said goodbye to my girlfriend, I said goodbye to my brother and everybody, and said I'm going to the Laguna Beach Temple, and I am going to now really surrender. So I went into the Laguna Beach Temple, and I my brother left me and everybody left me all alone, so I walked into the temple and Schwab Damodar, the scientist. You've heard of him, the scientist. Yeah. He was sitting there. He was a brahmachari. He was honoring prasadam. So I walked up to him and said, I've come here now to surrender my life to Prabhupada and to Krishna. And he said, you see the room over there? Go over there and wash pots. So you can ask Bojadev, you can ask anybody who was in Laguna Beach at that time. I was the pot washer for a while. Anyways, making a long story short, Rashad Dev was the temple president of Laguna Beach, and he had us go down to Escondido to an organic farm to get organic vegetables for the temple, for the Sunday feast, and for all during the week.
Yeah.
And so we heard that Prabhupada was coming to Los Angeles. So I wanted to present something to Prabhupada, because I'd never seen him. I had doubts of Krishna consciousness. I had doubts about him. I really didn't understand any of the concept of why I was even there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this was manifesting itself. So I went to Escondido with the farm guy to get all the food, and then I got myself a big box of maybe 15, 20 different kinds of organic vegetables to present to Srila Prabhupada. So the whole temple, we all went up to Los Angeles to see Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
So as you go into the Los Angeles temple on the side, there's an entrance there. You have to go out and then you go. So I was kneeling down in a position like this on my knees, and in front of me was this big box of organic vegetables, and right behind me were the devotees, and Swar Damodar was right behind me. Prabhupada's car pulls up. Prabhupada gets out of the car and starts walking towards the side entrance to the temple. And then he turns and he's ready to walk in, and I'm right in front of him, kneeling down with this box of vegetables, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, please accept these organic vegetables. And then Swart Damodar, out of the blue, I don't know why he said it, but this changed my life. He said, Srila Prabhupada, this boy has grown all these vegetables. I never grew nothing in my whole life. I only knew cow, and I didn't even know anything about cows or anything. I only know is I ate them. And anyway, there I am, And Prabhupada looked down at me. And then who can say that they got their first instruction from Srila Prabhupada within 30 seconds? I did. Prabhupada pointed his finger at me and said, you must go to Mayapur and make gardens. And now, Lord Nrsingadev, personally, somehow, through my friend, yesterday, on Lord Nrsingadev's appearance day, gave me a message. And the message is compassion, Shanka Das, love, Shanka Das, forgiveness, Shanka Das. Come home, Shanka Das. So, with that, I was about to dwell into some negativity that I will not bring about now because of that. So we will talk good things. So anyways, I got that. I gave Prabhupada, and then he went into the temple. And then I became Prabhupada's flower boy. I was looking all over Los Angeles, walking around all over the inside of the temple, looking for a flower to give to Prabhupada. And somehow somebody gave me this beautiful red rose. I peeled off all the pickers on it, and I sat there and waited, and then Prabhupada came walking down to greet the deities. He was walking down, and then I walked up to him and said, Srila Prabhupada, please accept this flower. And then Prabhupada took the flower, and then I became Prabhupada's flower boy. And then with that first instruction, with now becoming Prabhupada's flower boy, my whole life changed, and all the PTSD, all the anxiety I was feeling, all the depression, all the pressure from all the traumas from everything, just was gone. vanish. It's like when you come in contact to Jesus or Mohammed or any great saint like Prabhupada. You know, you when you connect, you connect to the Supreme Lord. And again, I can't go there. It wants to come out. I don't want to go there because of what Lord and Finger Dave told me, so I'm not going to blast you guys like I want to right now. But letting it ride. I'm really, you can't believe how much I'm holding back to what I want to just tear you guys apart. But Lord and Finger Dave has given me my word, so I have to do this now for the whole creation, everybody. I have to forgive. I have compassion and love for all of you, so I do. Okay. So,
just real quick, how do you feel that your personal journey and relationship with God helps you to put into practice forgiveness in your life?
Well, because it's you read it in the scriptures how Lord Chaitanya was so merciful in the story of Jagai and Madhava. We all know the story. You know, so, you know, the compassion, the example is there in the scripture.
Or Jesus on the cross. And
Jesus, for example. Yeah, Jesus on the cross, or Mohammed, the way they got him, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, however, all these great saints, all these great sages, they're always someone trying to.
That's really interesting.
They're here to help us.
Yeah.
And they give us their heart. And this is why we have to be very careful. And this is not going against compassion and not going against love or forgiveness.
That's a good point. I feel like the fact that, I mean, maybe other people have already realized this a long time ago, but the fact that all these saints and spiritual leaders and teachers and messengers have come, and a lot of them have been
suffered
remarkably suffered in some way before.
Yeah, because
they're here to set an example for us. To show us that even then.
Yeah,
they're still practicing what they preach, no matter what.
Forgiveness, no matter what
to the end, like
through.
Prabhupada showed us, and like
That's
Jesus
really
showed us, to the end. He said,
otherwise you're just a hypocrite.
The last thing that Lord and Shanka told me, so I can't be a hypocrite either.
Yeah.
I can't tell you all the whole GBC and all, can't get into all this stuff, you know.
What's the point of it anyway?
What is the point of doing all that? Well, it's not going to accomplish anything. What is it going to do? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
The point is that we have to open up our hearts to God. People, you have to open up your heart, and you can't open up a heart that is bogged down with eating, and there we have to go back to the eating and the killing of life on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, as a human being, I am outraged and I don't even consider myself a human being anymore. I don't even want to be a human being.
I know.
When I look at you, how you are all acting, especially to the poor veterans. You know, it's how you act to them, you know. This sickens me, and I don't want to condemn you, I don't want to judge you, I don't want to point a finger, but you really hurt me and break my heart, you know, when I see you hurting life that is meant
hurting
to
the planet.
Hurting not just the animals and the things that poop, but look at the forests. They're being destroyed. Growing in Florida here. What do they do? Instead of farming the land, they grow acres and acres of pine trees to make wood to build houses, you know, instead of growing food, to feed the homeless, to feed the people who are needy in this world of food, you know. And then when the food does come, what happens? You have rebels, you have factious groups who take the bounty and then distribute it, live and keep it all for themselves. And the real people that need food and things are not getting it. It's because we don't care. We really don't care, you know. We've really reached a civilization has reached a point where we don't really care. They don't really care what you say. They don't really care what you do. They don't care what you're trying to be as an example. They don't. I see it.
Yeah.
Out there.
I think it's because we are so disconnected from how everything that is in our life gets there. When you live in a more simple kind of communal setting. Not,
Yeah.
and I don't mean communal as in a communist place, but like how we grew up in Pennsylvania. You know, a community of people that all help each other get through the struggles of life. And when you see the struggles that the dairy farmer goes through and that the vegetable farmer goes through, oh man, let's all chip in and help the vegetable farmer because his crops got, you know, the dairy cows got in there. So when you live in a community that all rely on each other for support, it promotes a community or a feeling of love. But when here, if all of your things are made in China, right, or wherever they're made, you know, they break. Oh man, these piece of shit things, like, God, I hate, you know, made in China, but like, you know, there's probably a little kid in a sweatshop working 14 hours a day to make that. And it's done on purpose so that these companies can just rake in the profits, like you say, and then you're left with the frustration of having a cheap product. And now you're cursing the person who made it, thinking that they're just some turd. But it's like, that was another living being being exploited to give you the cheap thing that you wanted now.
It's not China.
It's not China. It's not a knock.
It's
the mentality. It's the mentality.
It's all of us. We all factor into that. If you use Amazon, if you shop at Walmart, if you do any of these things, then you're playing into it as well.
You are.
And I do that.
And it's not to say that you have to stop doing those things and be fanatical, but if you can do other things to help minimize your reliance on those things, or at least to bring awareness. You know what? How did the thing that I'm wearing, how did my shirt get made? If it was made in a sweatshop, I don't care if it was comfortable. I'm not going to purchase that but you have to think about these things, about where they come from. How did that meat get on my plate? What did that poor animal think moments before they were just slaughtered and butchered, or whatever the case is.
It's a lot about consciousness, and also our society distracts ourselves from everything.
You do. It's easy to turn on Netflix and binge.
Even when you're pumping gas on the freaking TV, gas station TV turns on. It's
like
you can't have a moment of silence.
They don't want you to have
you see Mel Gibson eating a steak, you know, and you say, oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the quiet and the peace, because when you are peaceful and quiet, that's when you start to see that, oh my God, all of this crap that I think is important is really not important. It's actually distracting me from realizing how I'm contributing to the damage to everyone around me.
It's distracting you from realizing that you're unhappy too half the time, and you're not working on the unhappiness. You're seeking pleasure.
This didn't work out. I'll try something else. That'll make me happy. That'll drown out my PTSD. That'll drown out my depression. That next hit of heroin will be great. It'll make me feel better.
That's how you folks, folks who want to drive there, I have been there. I have been a crackhead. I have been, I never shot anything in my arms. I can say, knock on wood, I've never done that. But I've done heroin, 8 balls, and so many things, and I've been an alcoholic to the max. I've lived in a bar. You understand that? Here, I'm trying to be a religious person, and I get caught up in drinking long necks, and next thing you know, I'm living in a bar. And then I'm trying to, then my ex-wife and her new husband give me the kids to take care of, and here I am, a blazing alcoholic, and no one knows, and then I destroyed my life. I lost my kids, I lost everything due to alcoholism and this crack addiction. I lost it all. So you guys out there, you know, you're going to lose it all. You know, you may think, well, I've already lost it all, but I mean, you're really going to lose it all. I mean, once you could dive into these things, you know, and you can't live on these things, and these things are not meant to give you the real peace and happiness that you're using it for, the crutch to give you happiness, because it's only the first time. After that, you never get the same high.
Chasing the dragon.
You're chasing the dragon. You're eating, chewing the chews. Sugar cane's been through. You enjoyed the glass. Now you put the stuff already gone through and shove it through again. You got till you get another glass. Empty.
And then you spend all your effort on that rather than pursuing what will actually make you peaceful.
Yeah, so, you know, we all have to get to levels of consciousness, and we have to do things that make us peaceful, you know. And You know, we're always getting back to this, and that's the only thing that I see on your planet that is stopping you from
Is the
being
killing.
compassionate and loving. That's just killing. That's going on rampantly, and now, and as a soldier, we know as soldiers that killing human beings is very serious, because you look at, you don't feel any guilt going to the meat market and buying a big slab of flesh and blood, go home and fry it up and eat it,
You're accustomed to justifying killing in some way, so it's easy
But
to justify prejudice and other things that go on
to a
too.
war and you're out there killing
Yeah.
people, killing human beings, it's a whole different thing. You really, the trauma and the PTSD is a reality, because you look at it right in the eye and you're doing it, you're performing the activity.
Yeah.
Folks,
Yeah.
we had to perform the activity. It's not our fault. In Vietnam, yeah, I can say it wasn't our fault at all. It was the fault of this country and their desire and their motivation to create these perfect weapons that you have now, and the perfect soldiers that they have now in their cities, in the mountains, in their cities, in the oceans. Who knows what they got in the sky and in space. They can't go past the ring of radiation around the planet. So, we're prisoners. We're all prisoners here. So let's all love each other. Let's all care for each other. Let's reach out to the veterans, instead of just give them some love tomorrow, please. We deserve it. More than that cow that you slaughtered and ate. We deserve more than that. We do. We deserve.
Yeah, it's crazy because people love to support the veterans, but I don't think, it seems that a lot of times that people don't really actually put thought into what that means. So they'll come and they'll say, "Thank you for your service," and I know they mean well by it.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate it,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and I'm very
I appreciate
but
it.
but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating because they say that, and you hear about it on TV, and you see it in Hollywood, and they're trying to celebrate it, but yet it's like they think that supporting the veterans means just kind of saying thanks and wishing them on their way. But when they're confronted with the reality that, well, actually supporting the veterans means supporting these people through the rest of their entire life, because you took often young kids who are psychologically not mature, you put them through all of this intense training, just like a dog. You take the dog, you put it through the training, and now all you got to do is ring the bell, and it does the action without thinking of it. So you're doing that to these young kids. They're going over there, they're getting put under intense, stress. I mean, the highest points of stress that they will ever experience in their entire life, getting exposed to that repeatedly day after day after day. Not just even for the people in direct combat, but for the people that are involved in whatever. You're the guy radioing in the airstrikes. I mean, like, you are contributing to killing all of these people. Or there's so much guilt in these other things that or maybe it's even just, wow, like, I'm so they people don't realize, just because on the outside they're getting food, fed and clothed, which a lot of them aren't, but but even if they're getting taken care of like that, if they're not getting taken care of here and up here, which not like most vets will openly tell you, like, I don't talk about this stuff to other people except with other veterans, because it's hard. No one gets it. It's not that you don't think other people are deserving of it, but like, how can you talk about the way that you feel when the other people just don't have?
They don't
get it, and yet, so that then the suicide rate is so high because you're left feeling like you're alone and you can't talk about any of this with other people.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
So this is why I'm getting this
Yeah.
opportunity now for me to speak out like that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's important.
it's important. You know, you vets know. You know that they. You know, now I'm riddled with Agent Orange exposure, and you all are too. You know, every Vietnam veteran was pretty much exposed to Agent Orange, and we're all coming down with dying like flies. You know, and you know, look at this. Look at the VA. You know, for me, for example, in 2015, I'm diagnosed with prostate cancer immediately. 100% disability. Okay. Now, not just recently, you know, instead I came down with cancer again, and now I got prostate cancer again, but instead of giving me 100%, they only give me 40%. They've lowered the rating because all the vets are coming down with prostate cancer, and they don't want to spend the money, I guess. But they'll spend $50 for a nail or a screw to put in a little machine, you know. So, you know, like that, you know.
You spend, what did we spend this year on military? $785 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what? For
Yeah.
So, you know, you veterans, you know, you're all in my heart, you know, and I've overcome a lot of things in my life through having faith in God. You know, I'm not putting religion out there on the table for you, but please, you know, take into consideration that there's higher forces that are projecting and giving love.
Let's talk about Bhakti Yoga, speaking of love.
Okay, Bhakti Yoga is
and talk about the worldwide community. Because what you're talking about, for me at least, it makes me think of Varnashram system.
Okay.
And how we failed as a worldwide community for the most part of this system, except maybe in little pockets. And it would be cool for you guys to talk about the Varnashram system and how it plays into, like, what types of things would be very beneficial for, you know, where the system is broken, how we could fix it if we were more Bhakti Yoga minded.
You can fix the system very easily. You can fix the Varnashram system easily if everybody would divide the land and everything, you know, and give everybody an acre or two, a cow, and a house on that acre or two, and then you grow something like potatoes. And then Farmer John down the road, he's growing onions. So this is a bartering system that was designed and developed way before human civilization evolved to where it is now.
Yeah. And it wasn't just farmers. I mean, some people were.
Everybody
where somebody was the
everything.
money making, the lawyering, or the doctoring.
Bartering was the whole
But then there's
thing.
the farmer, and so the doctor provides the services, the farmer provides the
Yeah.
food. It was a system of where people's skills and where their interests lay. There was a support system, so they could really do that, and they were taken care of. Now, like to you guys' point, the veterans do their job, and they're not taken care of.
Right.
Other people sometimes do their job, not taken care of in the way they should be. People feel like they have to do all the elements in order to take care of themselves half the time, and it's like that's because our system is all about. I mean, really, it's about exploitation of.
So, in a quick
of-
nutshell, the Varnashram system is, you know, it's the method that. Well, I mean, it still holds true today, whether you want to admit it or not. But it's from the Vedic teachings, and basically they have 4 tiers of society. You have your teachers and intellectuals, and their job is to educate.
They study, they learn their whole life,
they
educate.
They educate people. They take a specialty and they educate, but not with any selfish goal. They educate. This person is a warrior. I'm going to teach him the things he needs to know to be an effective warrior to best benefit society. This person's an intellectual. I'm going to teach this person to those strengths. This person is a merchant or a farmer. I'm going to teach him the best things he knows so he can be the most efficient merchant and farmer or trader, whatever. And then you have the blue-collar workers or the laborers, and they do the hard work. And no matter what society you look at, whether it's capitalist, socialism, communism, tribalism, those tiers always exist. You have the teachers, you have the warriors, they protect society, they run the day-to-day affairs. Then you have the merchants and the farmers, and you have your laborers. So,
and to your point about them not being beholden to anybody, the teachers were often in the Brahmin.
The teachers get taken care of.
Priest type people that they were studying, and then they were taken care of not by a government paycheck or by a paycheck from a king or by a paycheck from
well, the
a certain
king,
employer.
the warriors and the kings would
protect
make
them.
sure that they are.
But
they
also,
don't have
just
to,
even traveling, if you went to a householder, they would welcome you in and feed you because there was a respect for the fact that these people had dedicated their lives.
To be
Nowadays, if somebody does that kind of thing, it's like, well, you got to have money to pay for your product. Like the way we deal with it is like everybody has to find a way to make money. Whereas back in the day, it was like they would just kind of go through town and talk to people and impart wisdom. And people felt that the wisdom was worth them giving them maybe some money or some cloth or some
a place
food.
to stay.
Stay here for the night. Stay with me for the week, please. Spread your knowledge here. Whereas, like, we don't have that now. It's like
only if you join my Patreon. Otherwise, I won't share the wisdom.
We barter only physical things now.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a loss of respect for the wisdom and the knowledge of
that
the
others
elders,
can share.
The teachers, just all of it. It's not so much
the
there.
wisdom that I have, for example, I have so much wisdom.
Yeah, the elders are should be treasured.
You don't even understand what you're missing, what you've missed. Because now I'm giving up all the things that I tried to do to help you all. I tried to help everybody. I opened up my kitchen with the mercy of the temple president, to either come in to learn something, I'm a professional chef, and I've been the world. I've done it. I've been there. I don't judge. But no one understands the veterans. You really don't understand us at all. You really don't understand. You can't get the picture in your head.
Yeah.
You just can't get it in your head. And this is why you see so many veterans committing suicide. So many of us they're just fed up with the whole system and how it just treats us like we're just some kind of
shit off the bottom of the boot.
Shit off the bottom of the barrel, And that's all we are, we're nothing more than that, and if you're not giving something to the organization, whoever they are, the Rothschilds or whatever they are, then, or the aliens or groups, whatever. They're all
not the lizard
so many things going on we don't know about, but as a soldier for myself, I am aware of all of it. Because I'm a spiritual soldier, because I just told you my story with Yogeshwara. He's the supreme mystic. You don't even understand that. People don't even understand that. He's a supreme mystic.
Yeah.
The whole thing
The whole
is
creation.
Yogeshwara.
Yeah.
The supreme mystic. Everything. Everything. You close your eyes and everything that you see and everything around you, everything that's manifesting is all coming from Yogeshwara, the supreme mystic. So this talk is to reach out to you people and reach out to God tonight, everybody. Pray, do your vow, give up your red meat, you continue eating your other meats and things, but give up your red meat today on this special day, Memorial Day, as a token of your appreciation for God and all the things that we did in the name of God for your well-being and for your happiness today. Because without us, veterans, you guys would be in a world of hurt. You really would. So, just take
And
that
we do
on.
it.
And a lot of the
it
things
comes from, the sacrifice that the veterans make. We don't. It's not that we want that recognition. I mean, I know I didn't do it for that.
I don't want the recognition.
But it's more about especially now, especially in my generation, a lot of guys went over there and not necessarily whether they did or didn't agree with the reasons we were there, but they do, and they go over and they, you do it out of, there is a sense of selflessness. You're doing it because you love the somewhere deep down you love your country, and loving your country means loving the other people in the country. So the very sacrifice that the veterans make, whether they were drafted or volunteered, makes very little difference, but they made a sacrifice.
That's right.
So that sacrifice and that selflessness, that was, it's only, that's just the way you reciprocate. The warriors go and they do their job, and they have to live in the shit and go through what they do, but they do it because they love the rest of their society.
Yeah.
And the rest of their society should love them back.
This comes to an
Right,
interesting
that's
point.
exactly the varnish, right? The two aspects of it now that you've heard. You got the bartering aspect.
Yeah.
Everybody's bartering for different things and different bartering for everything, So, anyways,
I think it's something, an interesting thing that came to my mind while you were talking about this and while you guys were speaking was, it's easy to say we all live in these different states of being without realizing it. Our mental states tend to be in certain areas, certain chakras, if you will, that you tend to live in more commonly than others. And I think something I was talking with someone else a while back about was that if you're in judgment at all, ever, even if it's only occasionally that you're judging, you're always in judgment. Because in order to ever judge, you have to be judging when it's appropriate to judge. That's one explanation, but you don't even need to explain it. Basically, if you're ever in judgment, you're always in judgment, period, end of story. And from where are you judging? So the point is give up that judgment. But then also, to what you guys are talking about, it's not bhakti or love, bhakti yoga, love. It's not, are you loving this person but not that person? You're either in love or you're not in love, period, end of story. Are you in love? And if so, then are you treating everyone with love? Doesn't mean that you let someone abuse you or anything crazy, but are you really compassionate? Because if people are acting out, they're probably going through something or have gone through something or whatever. It doesn't mean you have to put yourself in that position or stay, but
you don't have to hold a grudge.
You're treating them with
them.
love, or you even in separation, okay, well I'm gonna head out,
I love you, I respect
or
you,
maybe get them the help they need if you can, or whatever the case may be. But are you in love or are you not in love? Period. End of story. And you can't just love one person or just love these couple people that are your people to the different lives matter and things
But
you have to
the
love.
message I got from Lord and Stringer Day,
Compassion.
Stringer Day's of Parents' Day, when
love everyone.
When I'll tell you the story too, it was Lord and Stringer Days of Parents' Day. I woke up, I went to Mangal Arti, after Mangal Arti, I chanted a little bit, went around to meet the ladies talking, and then I helped supervise, I guess, I'll put it that way, the cutting up of prepping of the feast, and then I went to the VA hospital. I spent the whole day pretty much at the VA hospital getting my lab, seeing my primary care doctor, and talking to my my radiologist doctor. So after doing all that, I got my latest prognosis, my latest diagnosis, and the newest thing is lung cancer. So anyway, so I'm a little disturbed, so I got a text message from our temple president that a family had come way down from coming from South Florida to come to see me, and they so I'm on my way. I just left the VA, so I went home, showered, got put on devotional clothes and proper T-lock and like that, and then as I was walking between the kitchen and the temple Pujari room, it was one of my old friends from North Carolina when I was alcoholic. She was my friend, her and her husband, they've been married for a long time. Anyways, she's a Reiki master, Reiki, what we call it. So I said to her, why don't we combine your Reiki energy? She told me she was Reiki after. We put our energy together and we get a message from Lord and Trinity. Because I was, I have to tell you honestly, I lost control and I let energies work on me when I was not going there. So anyway, making a long story short, What was I saying?
The string of days message.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so they were talking, and then she started talking, and then all of a sudden, I closed my eyes, and she said, Shanka Dasa, compassion, love, forgiveness for everything, and come back to me right now.
Yeah.
That's the word that I got from Lord and String of Dave through the medium of energy flowing between two devotees who have known each other probably since time immemorial, and connecting in a way spiritually that brought about a whole revolution in my consciousness, which has put about a whole new clarity in my mind right now, a whole new understanding of everything that's been going on around me and myself, learning and healing myself. And now I've reached, now I'm stage 4. I'll tell you, I got 3 kinds of cancers that won't kill me. But right now it looks like that the lung cancer will do it very rapidly. It's a very rapid cancer killer. It goes right to the brain. Once it starts rolling and metastasizes, it goes directly to the brain. So you have to still, I might be suffering brain cancer. Let's pray, everybody, that I leave this body before I go into brain cancer. Please pray for me, at least for that. I don't care what you think about me or how, anything. Just pray for that for me. At least you can do that, for what I've done for everybody, including devotees, Christians, warriors, everything, And I will tell this, this is what I believe in my heart, that I have, because of everything that I've learned, everything that I've experienced in my life, I've taken it all now with maturity and understanding that they're all lessons, lessons to be learned. And God is so forgiving, He lets us slip, He lets us make the wrong choice. He watches and He observes, but you only can step on God's toes so many times, and then, bam, you're gonna get it. And that's just that's it. That's the whole thing. So please, everybody, pat a bet in the back, make your commitment to God. You'll stop eating red meat, and then your lives will be happy, successful, peaceful, and there will be real peace in this world. Real peace, real compassion, and real love. But don't kid yourselves. If you're eating the things that poop, because I'm excusing the French, if you're eating the things that poop, what goes around comes around. You may think nothing of it. You may think, well, I'm just eating this egg because it's in a cookie or a fluffy marshmallow, or something, gelatin in it, and you eat it, you're going to get reaction. I'm not judging you or telling you anything that's not true.
Your own reactions that come back around are punishment enough.
Right, exactly.
You don't need judgment
Oh,
things.
God. If only you all knew what happens to me. If only you knew. It's like Tom Petty says, you do not know me. You do not know me at all. But I know you vets, so anytime you see me, I'm walking around everywhere. I do everything. Of course, now I have to say, everybody, that I've stopped doing a lot of things now. I've stopped working with Radha's kitchen and Radha's kitchen like that. I've stopped cooking altogether at the temple. I'm not going to be able to do the morning offering I did on Sunday anymore, and I'm only in the capacity right now of teaching, cooking. I can't lift pots anymore. I tried doing some gardening this morning, and the pain that I'm experiencing in my abdomen and in my lower back, and I just can't do anything pretty much anymore. It's a shock. It's a shock to me because I'm a very active person.
You are a beast, dude.
I mean, even now I feel like I want to go out there and pick, but I can't do it anymore. So I'm letting go of it. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Like I said, no one knows me, no one really knows me, and all I can ask for all is, I've said some things, all I'm asking for the whole of you who are listening today, for me, just give me a pat in the back and forgive me for all my offenses to all of you. Just forgive me. I didn't really mean to do anything to anybody. It really messed me up, this country. You do not understand. Only another soldier knows.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service too, Hans.
It's an honor.
We'll you can sign off with that.
Yeah.
That was a really nice way to
Sign
end.
up, that was a nice ending.
That was a nice ending.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And,
Happy Memorial Day.
Back to normal.
Yeah, we'll try to put this out in a rush with
Yeah, put this out right away tomorrow.
And just don't forget to like and follow and share the love, share the the thought about the soldiers and the veterans, and also if any of the, because we brought up a lot of points, we only were able to elaborate on some of them. If any of those points are you're not sure, there's a lot of other videos on our channel that you could go, or if you're listening.
We also intend to have.
And we're gonna have them back, but if they're
as
listening
possible.
before they're back, then there's gonna be a lot of points that are elaborated in other videos. If you're trying to figure out karma or other things that we just kind of drop in, and you're not familiar, there are other videos where Hans and I have discussed a lot of these principles before. So. Just to put that out there, but thank you very much, Shanka Prabhu.
Yeah,
And
thank
I'm
you.
Thank you
looking
everyone for
forward
listening.
to coming back again.
And we'll have you as much as
Yeah.
we can.
I got
As
so
much
many-
as to the end
Keep
here.
coming.
I got so many stories, and like I said, I'm a changed man. I totally changed. Compassion, love, and I forgive you all.